everybody. I'm BJ Flagg.
And I'm Rich G, and this is episode 342. Can you launch a successful business while working full time?
Welcome back to the Best Small Business Show, your go to resource for all things entrepreneurship and personal development. In today's episode, Rich and I are delving into the topic that many aspiring entrepreneurs face: launching a business while working full time and keeping it under wraps from your employer.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a great topic. I actually did this. I was working at a company and I actually did it for like 2.5, 3 years, coaching at night, and really proved that I could do it and make money before I left my company. But a lot of people do this, BJ.
Oh my gosh. I mean, the best part is you have a renewed passion. You've got this passion and it's kind of bubbling up inside of you. And really, you can do this. You can definitely do it, but there are a couple of key points that you really need to focus on
Yeah.
and understand that the timeline might not be the same as what you thought it would be. But if you do these things, you're going to see a nice success. So give it to us.
Absolutely, absolutely. The first thing we want you to focus in on is to validate the business idea. And I had to do this. I had to validate and say, is this going to work? Am I going to like doing it? Am I going to make money? You have to validate this business idea. So, first and foremost, let's talk about validating your business idea without raising suspicion at work. And that's the most important thing. You got to keep your job.
Yes.
Conducting market research and testing your concept before fully committing is really essential. Is really essential.
Yeah. And do you feel, Rich, that during that time and you're doing the research, a bunch of that can be done at night. You get
Yeah.
yourself a plan, you get together, a lot of that can be done at night. But then there's other parts where you got to start meeting people.
Absolutely. We've got some action items, some things that you need to do if you are going to validate your idea. Number one is conduct discrete market research. And BJ and I can really attest to this. Utilize online surveys, forums, industry reports to gather insights without drawing attention to your activities. So really understand what the market is. How many
Yeah.
are there out there? What's the competition? Is the industry growing? Is it shrinking? What's happening? Is it changing?
Yeah. And you know what? The best thing you can do is test the waters. Start small by offering your product or your service to a select group of friends, family, online community to kind of gauge interest and gather feedback. Figure this time as times where you're market testing and don't consider it you're in it. The business has started. No, no, no. Just do it for testing purposes so that you can really hone in on every one of the little components.
Yeah, I actually ended up talking to a lot of other coaches just to get their feedback about what's going on in the marketplace, how they work with their clients and stuff. So I actually hired a coach. I actually worked with 3 coaches to test
Oh,
the waters. And then the
yeah.
final thing is shh, keep it low key. Avoid discussing your business plans or activities at work. And this is going to be hard because we have this urge to let people know about this new thing that's happening to us to prevent potential conflicts of interest or confidentiality breaches.
Yeah. Especially if it's aligned with the business that you're working at, you got to really be quiet. This is even if the business is still nascent, you need to have NDAs in place. So if you did take on a confidant or, an associate or somebody, you have to have confidentiality agreements signed so that there's silence about whatever's going on. But the other thing is, this is the sad part, is there's going to be people at work who you've worked with for years and years and years. You can't share it with them.
Yeah.
You can't. You just got nothing. And that's hard. later when the business you've left, the business gets going, things like that, you can definitely begin that relationship again, but not during this time. That's for sure. So I wanted to talk about time management and secrecy. And, the importance of managing your time effectively while doing your entrepreneur endeavors, hidden from your, employer and your colleagues, that's essential.
Yeah.
And Rich, do you bump into this a lot of times when people are discussing ideas with you? You know, they want to start really getting out there and being a little loud about it, but they're jeopardizing
Yeah,
their
they want to
actual.
go out with a bang. In fact, I ran into this when I started my business. I had a website out there that wasn't like it was just I was building it and I was just
Yeah.
coaching at night. It had nothing to do with and it wasn't in competition with my company. And what was interesting was one day I came in and my boss was like, "Can you talk to me about this?" And he spins his monitor around and he shows me my website. And I go, "Oh, it's a hobby I do at home on my own time and stuff like that." He goes, "Yeah, I really don't want you doing this." And he goes, "You need to be 100% focused on your work." And this kind of gives you their viewpoint. And I was like,
Yeah.
he goes, "Well, you need to make a choice." And so I went right back to my desk, changed a little code, and my website was totally off the grid. And I went back and I go, "It's gone." He typed in the URL and it was gone. He goes, "Okay, you're all set." And that's all I needed to do. But
Yeah.
I kept building my business on the side,
Yeah.
and frankly, I'll be honest, he got fired at the end of the year.
Ah,
So it was
it's
great to
all
see him
right.
go goodbye. And I ended up like about a year and a half later starting my business. So
Yeah,
these
yeah,
things
and
happen.
you could do it. Yeah, you could
Yeah.
do it. If you think of a great action item, create a separate work schedule. So allocate a specific time slots outside of your regular work hours to focus on your business without raising any suspicion. You're going to have to talk to your significant other, your roommate, all the various players that this is extremely important to you. So you are going to be taking up time that you would normally be boating,
Yeah.
off golfing. So
Another action item is use discretion with your communication. Set up a separate email. Avoid using company resources. Don't use your laptop, such as email and phone, for business related matters. And consider setting up separate accounts for added privacy. Trust me, nowadays they could track everything. And if they,
keystroke entry, forget it.
yeah,
I wouldn't put one thing. Yeah, absolutely not. And really, we stressed it before, but maintain confidentiality to protect your interests and have that professionalism. Avoid discussing sensitive business details or sharing company related information with anyone, anyone at work. It's the hardest thing. It is
yeah.
definitely.
Well, our third area that we want you to focus in on is your financial planning and budgeting. It's so important because if you do start your business, you need to replace or expand on the money that you're making currently. So let's
Yeah.
explore the financial aspect of starting a business while working full time and keeping it concealed from your employer. Okay, the first action
Yeah.
item we really want you to do is to establish a separate financial account. Open a dedicated business bank account to track income and expenses separately from your personal and work finances. In fact, I would suggest that you get an LLC and
Mhm.
you get registered with the state, get a federal ID number. So everything's on the up and up and it's separate. It's separate from your personal finances.
Yeah. And I'm going to suggest that you get a bookkeeper or an
Yes.
accountant and your attorney involved because you got to get trademarked and you got to have everything all completely buttoned up. This is where I talked about the timeline. the timeline can stretch, especially when you financially realize how much money you have to make every month and every week and every day to make up for your regular job and all that lovely insurance and all that lovely perks and extras. So there's, you got to bootstrap cautiously. Start with a minimum investment and focus on the generating revenue organically to avoid raising suspicion from your financial activities at work.
Hmm. And then finally, keep your records discreetly. Securely maintain meticulous records of your business transactions and expenses to ensure confidentiality and compliance with financial regulations. And a big thing is I had a computer at home, and then I did stuff at lunch and on an iPad, that was connected to my phone. So I
Yeah,
wasn't on the network or anything, but I really tried very hard not to do any kind of business at work.
yeah, yeah. And you can do it. That time, like going out for lunch to meet up, like for us, I needed to meet with every single printer I knew.
Yeah.
So at lunchtime, I would go to another printer, go to another person, go to a vendor, go to see somebody. So I was very busy at lunch hours, which was just how it had to be, and it worked out. It worked out. Um, let's talk a little bit about maintaining that work-life balance. Last but not least, we want to discuss the importance of maintaining a healthy work life balance while you're juggling a full time job and a burgeoning business venture in secrecy. This is probably like the first time in your life where you've had to keep everything under wraps. So it's hard. Don't you think, Rich? Oh my gosh.
Absolutely. When I did it, I was working probably a 55 hour week at work. I'd start work at
Oh,
6:30 and leave at 5. But then I'd come home, have dinner. I had two kids, a wife and two kids.
yeah. Yeah.
I spent time with them. And
And he
then at
still
7
has them, by the
o'clock,
way. Yeah.
yes, 7 to 8 and 8 to 9, I coached two people. And then
Yeah.
at 9 o'clock, I spent time with my wife and watched a little TV. And we went to bed at 11 and did it again and again. And I
Yeah.
did that for 2.5 years.
Yeah. And to tell you the truth, I think you did something so important for your boys. You showed them determination, grit, and the ability to stay on that work balance,
Yeah.
and it was important, right? And I think, well, obviously, your two guys are incredible. So, it really has an effect. It really does. One of the things that you got to do is set boundaries. You got to establish clear boundaries between your work and your business activities to pursue burnout, to not have any burnout happening and maintain a productivity on both areas. I'm sure that was hard for you, Rich, because think about like just the logistics of that. You were about an hour away from work. There was time commuting. Yeah, lots going on.
It was tough. And big thing you really need to do, and I did this, is prioritize your self care. Make
Yeah,
time for activities that recharge your batteries and alleviate stress, such as exercise, meditation, or hobbies to sustain your energy and focus. That's so important.
I bet that was great. And you know what? You should seek support discreetly. And this is the beginning of you building your network of trusted advisors, mentors, and fellow entrepreneurs outside of your workplace to seek guidance and support without raising any suspicions, and no confidentiality breaches. That's the biggest thing. You want to be able to leave your job and have them be happy. You want them to give you the party. You know what I mean? You want them to leave and say, you did such a great job here. Hey, the door's always open. Come back when you can. That type of feeling. So don't burn a bridge. This is not the time to do that.
And there you have it. We've covered the ins and outs of starting a business while working full time and keeping it hidden from your employer.
Yes. And remember, with careful planning, discretion, and determination, you can pursue your entrepreneurial dreams while maintaining professionalism in the workplace.
And that's all for today's episode. We invite you to share this podcast on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok with the hashtag The Best Small Business Show.
And we want to thank you so much for tuning in to the Best Small Business Show. If this episode has been valuable to you, subscribe, follow, and share it with all the other budding entrepreneurs who could benefit.
And that's it for this week. You can reach out to BJ at newrenew.com and me at richg.com.
Thanks to our editor and producer, Richard Scalzo, and have an unbelievable week. Catch you later.